Hey everybody, Ben here from the Bonehead podcast, and welcome to Star Player Spotlight, Thorsson Stoutmead. So Thorson is one of the new star players that are landing as part of the Norse release. So his rules are in his clamshell, but also in Spike 14. And on Star Player Spotlight, we have a look at all the star players available in Blood Bowl 2020. We look at who they can play for, how much they're going to cost, what their special power is, and just what you get for your money. Okay, so Thorson is an interesting one. I may refer to him as Donkey Kong from now on, every now and again, so do forgive me, but that's because when we're talking through the rules and talking through his kind of deal, is he throws barrels at dudes, alright? So therefore he is Donkey Kong in my head. So Thorson landed first of the star players for Norse to be revealed, and we all got real intrigued because looking at the size and shape of him, the scale, we kind of thought the proportions indicate that this guy might be a big lad. He's got a barrel and he's hefting it as if he's got no weight at all. Again, might be a big lad. So been really looking forward to getting hold of the stats for this guy to see how accurate we were. Is he going to be strength 5? Is he going to be strength 4? Well, actually, Thorson is a strength 3 guy. So he comes in at 170,000. Movement 6, Strength 3, Edge 3+, Passing 4+, and Armor 8+ indicate that he is basically a lineman with a couple of stats switched around. Movement is the same, Strength is the same, Edge and Passing are flipped. This guy is very drunk. This is his deal. He's very drunk. He brings his own kegs to the pitch and he throws them at people. But because of that, his edge is reduced at 4+, but his passing is better at 3+, which is going to be of no use to you at all. You may think, he's throwing barrels, he's going to have Bombardier. This makes sense. This is why his edge is low, but his passing's good. This is cool. Almost. He throws stuff, but it's got nothing to do with his passing ability. That is just there for if he randomly gets the ball for some reason. So, yeah. Alright, fine. So 170k, lineman stats with the agility and passing swapped around. Block, drunkard, loner, and thick skull. That is entirely the lineman deal from Norse, but with loner 4+ because he's a star player. So far we're paying 170k for a Norse lineman with worse agility. I'm not loving this so far. The model's interesting. I thought, wow, we're getting a half giant. This is going to be really interesting. So we've got a lineman, and that's it. No special skills. Slightly adjusted passing. Not sold so far. But the reason you buy Thorsson Stoutmead, the reason you want Donkey Kong on your team is because of his special power, Beer Barrel Bash. And thanks to the Warhammer community, we have the graphic right here for it. So, Thorsson Stoutmead, Beer Barrel Bash. Once per drive. So, a drive is when you've got the ball, when you kick the ball. It's basically what's happening on the pitch until somebody scores or the half ends. Okay, so a series, a drive. Once per drive, at the start of his activation, Thorson may perform a throw keg special action. When he does so, select an opposition player within 3 squares of Thorson. So he's in the center, that's 3 left, 3 diagonally right. It's 3 squares away, basically. So it's actually bigger than a quick pass, I think. Maybe, I think it probably works out about the same. It works out exactly the same. Ignore what I just said. And roll a d6. So pick a dude within 3 squares when he activates, and on a 3+, that player is immediately knocked down. So when a player is knocked down, they are placed prone and you roll for armor. So that is a big deal. If you roll a 1, he manages to throw the keg at himself, stacks it, and he himself is knocked down. So this is a really interesting one. Basically what this means is that once per drive, you just get a lightning bolt spell. A short-range lightning bolt spell. You don't get to deflect this. You don't get to catch this. You don't get to do anything at all except hope they don't roll a 3+. So if you are playing against Thorsson Stoutmead, the threat of activation is going to absolutely terrify you. Because you know what? Until he's shot his barrel, you don't know if it's going to work. So there's every chance that at the beginning of this dude's activation, if he's within 3 squares of your ball carrier, you're going to get 3+ knocked down, and that is going to be it. But it is only once per drive. Once that's happened, it's happened until the next drive when Thorson gets another barrel of mead. So you've got a lineman with no special abilities, but what you've got here is essentially a sniper. But until it's FAQ'd, or if it is FAQ'd, this here is something to really pay attention to. If a player on the active team is knocked down during their team turn, if he rolls a 1, it is a turnover. So that's a kind of balancing element at least. So even if you do have to manage your drive and be aware of where Thorson is, on a 1, he's going to hit himself, you're going to be able to roll for armor against him, and it's going to be a turnover. So if you are running Thorson, you have to be very aware that this could go quite wrong and could be the end of your turn. This is either, at the beginning of your turn, you just go for it and see if you can turn that ball over and then swarm your guys in. But if you roll a 1, you get a time walk yourself, that is your turn over, and you pass the initiative back to them. So this is a really interesting kind of dynamic. Now, it's a throw keg special action, and this will need a jolly good FAQing, because the bombardier special action says you can't move, right? This one doesn't say that. It doesn't say you can't move afterwards. So for now, we're not quite sure how to rule this, because there are some special actions that you are allowed to walk around with afterwards. So could be the case. Bombardier expressly says you can't, so it's going to be an interesting one, and that's going to be down to TOs to FAQ until Games Workshop sort their life out. I haven't really thought about which way round I see this. Technically it doesn't say you can't move after the special action, and because the Bombardier one does say you can't move, the precedent I feel is set that unless they say you can't move, then you can assume you can move, because they said in this one case you can't move, so it kind of becomes the exception to the rule. Anyway, good job. Good job with the rules on that one. Lineman stats, but that 3+ ability to knock a dude over once per drive could be really massive. But once that's done, you're just left over with a lineman. And I think what we're going to have to do is go to the old world classic teams that can take him and kind of filter through if that's going to be good enough or not. So old world classic teams, we've got Dwarf, Halfling, Human, Imperial Nobility, Ogre, Old World Alliance, and now in Spike 14, the Norse team. So I can see an Ogre team being okay with having a random Strength 3 lineman in there when most of your guys are big guys with Bonehead and the rest of your team are Strength 1 garbage. Actually, having a Strength 3 block is going to be pretty good. It's going to be a reasonable blitzer. Same to be said of the Halflings. Now, when it comes to Nobility and OWA, a little bit more block is going to be greatly appreciated. And actually, same kind of can be said for a human team. Dwarves, not going to find a lot of use, but actually that sniper ability, even if it is only once per drive, it can cause your opponent to lose a turn. And when you're playing dwarf tight shield wall tactics, actually you're going to be able to keep this guy behind the line and have a go at knocking down that dude. Norse team, this is going to be medium, but what this is providing is it's just a cheap wizard with a body on the pitch, basically. Now, of these teams, there are not a huge amount here that are going to be able to to kind of capitalize on the opportunity of popping the ball out. Halflings and ogres have got that little bit of stunty angle. Humans and Old World Alliance may have a halfling or two. The Norse are going to have the beer ball, but the beer ball can't pick up the ball because it's a beer ball. And nobility are really going to struggle in that regard. So as far as popping the ball out and then swooping in to steal it, there's no gutter runners here. This is not the kind of wood elf territory where you can just pop across and grab the ball. What you are going to be able to do, hopefully, if you turn the ball over in that situation, is cost your opponent 1 or 2 turns, and then actually you can just swoop in, apply more tackle zones, apply more pressure, and just force your opponent to make more bad situations for themselves. Okay, so clearly I've got a lot to say about Thorson, and that's all focused around turning over the ball, okay, knocking down the ball carrier, because Blood Bowl, you know, it's half the game is dealing with the ball. There is another half to the game, however, and there are some really great opportunities when it comes to Thorson. You can pop the side of a cage out, sure. You can pop the middle of the cage out, sure. You can take out a giant by tripping this up, or you can be really, really broken and take out Creek Rust Gouger on a single 3+. A ball and chain, when they go down, they are immediately minimum knocked out. So actually being able to knock down a ball and chain character, going to be absolutely massive. And if you are playing on a team where you've got some fouling action, actually being able to drop a guy down to create that opportunity is going to be huge as well. There's no friendly fire rules. There's no way to deflect this ability. You can just free up your own Yeti by 3+ knocking down who he's in contact with and then going on a rampage. There's a ton of great stuff and a ton of great opportunities here, let alone some of the other combos you can get too. So interesting star player. And actually, I think we've only just started to kind of look at some of the opportunities for throwing a barrel around on a Blood Bowl pitch. Okay, so you want to run Thorson because it's going to be a pretty good bombardier for the good guys. Not technically a bombardier, but you know what I mean. Right, so this model here, when I thought it was going to be a big dude, I was like, wow, how can we represent it? Now I know that he's just a strength 3 Norseman. There's a couple of very easy conversions there using the Norse kit, the pointing dude, and a barrel from a beer bore. Right, job done. You've got a Thorson. If you've got Bugman, the star player character model, well, he's got a tankard or something. That works too if you've got the Fanath dwarf team. Plenty of beer barrels there as well. So there's a lot of opportunity here to kit bash Thorson yourself. Not going to be too difficult in any way, shape or form. But the model here is from Forge World. It is available for sale. And I think it's standard kind of 32mm player price, which is not going to be as much as some of the bigger ones, but it's still going to be £21 plus postage. Now, because this is kind of like a new star player on the scene, I haven't seen any third-party alternatives, but quite frankly, any dude with a barrel will do when it comes to Thorson. This is a really interesting star player, and I think we are going to see him crop up at tournaments quite a lot, because there is power here. It will work sometimes it will not work, but actually there are going to be some really horrible games where that 3+ knock the ball out ability is going to definitely turn things around, and I think that's going to be really interesting. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up now. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think of Thorson in the comments, and then we'll be back soon with some more Blood Bowl content. Happy barrel throwing.
Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to help support the channel even further, please like and subscribe, or come join us on our Patreon. We have early access to content, we get loads of feedback from you guys, and we try and do competitions as much as we can. Or you can get yourself some Bonehead podcast merch on our Spreadshirt site. So if you want to support a team, especially for the Bonehead Championship, you can pick up a shirt, a mug, things like that. It all helps support the channel, and we really appreciate it. Anyway, links below. Thank you very much. Happy blocking.